and welcome to another episode of Kelly and Company, without Kelly MacDonald, but with Ramia Amadin and Nisreen Abdelmajid. In June 2025, several art programs and exhibitions across Canada will highlight the creative expressions of individuals living with Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia or neurodiversity, and culture contributor Amy Amantea is going to bring us these connections of art and brain health. It's going to be a fun chat right off the top. After that, we have a conversation about Ontario Lottery and Gaming Corporation, the OLG, because they're supporting accessibility in the iGaming industry with the launch of Red Panda Tales of Wealth. Long name, but it is the first digital slot game designed for people with disabilities with universal design and accessibility in mind. Chris O'Brien, who is a longtime friend and former colleague of AMI, but now the Director of Accessibility for OLG, is going to give us a scoop. Also, we've entered picnic season, so Mary Mammoliti's got us covered with fun summer eating options during picnics to keep it stress-free. Let's get it going.
This is Kelly and Company.
Nis, have you had your first picnic yet?
No, not yet, but I have a really cute picnic basket that is just ready to be used. Okay, it's so adorable. I'm telling you, it has like plastic wine cups, and it has like little plates, and it has like holders for the utensils, and it's so adorable. I'm just ready.
This is not a classic picnic basket, which is just a woven.
This looks like a classic picnic basket, and it comes with a little cloth to attach to it, so you can sit on the ground.
But when
I'm ready for it. I used it once last year.
It's got all the
I used it once last year when it was actually good weather. But I feel like every time we think of picnicking, that's a word.
Picnicking? Yeah, why not? Or we're adulting or picnicking.
Yeah, this is a repeat. But anyway, we used it once because every time we thought of it, it was raining, it was cold, whatever. So I'm just ready. I'm ready for it. It's by the door.
Did you grow up with picnics though? Like, was that a thing? Do you crave picnics around the summertime because you did it as a fam growing up?
Yes. I feel like yes. And I hesitate to say that because as I mentioned before, picnicking with my family is a whole different vibe where they bring like pots and pans and
it's a cookout.
Huge plates and it's a whole cookout. We're pretty embarrassing because we come up with like 2-3 wagons of stuff. Acting like we're going to be away from home for a while, but it's not. It's like a couple hours.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way my mom packs when we go out anywhere for even half an hour. So I know what you mean. Like, what is
we
in
used to
this
go
bag?
Picnicking every week. Loved it.
Right? That's so cute. That's okay. We didn't grow up doing too many picnics, but like once a year, maybe the family or the community, people who lived around our area would get together and do a picnic. It didn't really feel like a picnic the way that I imagine picnics to be, just low-key blanket and sitting on the grass, eating food that you packed. I think that's the kind of picnics that Mary's going to be describing later on the show. But I mean, a picnic is a picnic, I guess.
Everybody has a different way of picnicking.
Yeah. I feel like you're really struggling with that word picnicking, but you can practice until later.
I'm hesitating because I'm like, I really don't know.
It's because of the adulting thing yesterday. It really made us uncomfortable.
Now I'm questioning everything because of you.
It's not because of me. It's just because I said it differently. Anyway, let's bring on Amy Amantea. So June, like I said, is a very important month to mediate. Yeah. June is an important month because it marks Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month, as well as Autism Pride Day, which falls on June 18th. So it seems right, of course, that Amy Amantea, who's our arts and culture critic and contributor, makes the connection between the world of the arts and the world of the brain. So, Amy, why is art so important for people who are living with brain injuries or neurodiversity or anything of this kind?
The connection between the art and the brain. Well, good morning to you both, or good afternoon or good evening, wherever you happen to be listening to this particular episode. That's right. I think maybe that seems rather obvious as to why, art is important, but in particular to folks that are living with brain injury, and that's a large category. So sometimes they, include Alzheimer's and dementia in that category under injury. That would be more of a medical model, but neurodiversity, that's ADHD, which is something that I live with, dyslexia, people who are autistic, all sorts of things fall under those categories. So here's just like a highlight of things. So, art is known to activate multiple brain regions. So it works with the left brain and the right brain at the same time, which can be really beneficial to how the brain functions. Because sometimes they say that you're either a left brain person or a right brain person. So apparently, working with art actually activates both sides of the brain at the same time, which I never actually thought about because I just was like, well, I'm an artist, so I don't do math. But this works with both, right? It's like, there you go. And when you think about sensory integration, so engaging with colors, textures, and materials that can help rewire sensory pathways within the brain. So this is all something that you can use if you're healing from a brain injury or wanting to create new neural pathways within the brain. So again, you're thinking about dementia and Alzheimer's and the benefits of engaging with the brain. Think about expression beyond words. So if you are dealing with a place in your brain where you no longer have language, or maybe you didn't have language to begin with, how you can express something that is in a nonverbal way through art, through feelings, through expressions, without having to have verbal language. So you can, put down feelings and memories and emotion and identity through art in any different medium, right? So there's all sorts of different ways. One of the ones that I thought was the most interesting is being able to feel like you have a sense of control through art, which a lot of folks who are experiencing some of these things don't. I know that I feel that way a lot, that I don't have a sense of control, but if I have a paintbrush in my hand, or if I'm writing a poem or something like that, within my body, I have a sense of autonomy and control. So that there's no, like, I have a really long list of things that I could share with you. So I think there's no downside to engaging with any art medium and how it interacts with your brain. And of course you're connecting with community at the same time. So you're reducing senses of isolation. So can you find a downside of connecting with art?
No, of course not.
I don't think so.
Not. No.
Yeah.
But it is interesting, the language or the relearning of so like basically the rehab part of it, because I have heard a lot of interesting commentary from people who've had first hand experience with this. And there's a really good TED talk out there too by a professor who's a neuro scientist who lost full capacity of her left brain after an aneurysm. And it was like incredible, her story. And I wish I could remember her name at the top of my head. I'll try to find it later. But it was incredible, her story of just the rehab of trying to relearn the language that she could sense but not be able to verbalize yet, and how creativity and creative expression played a huge role in how she was able to recover and then tell her story, because she was able to think it but not express it. So there's just so many ways, Amy.
Yeah, that brain is a scientific marvel. And what did they say? We use 10% of our brain. Scientifically, we only know of, right? So there's so much of the brain to explore, and how we build neural pathways. And that's a lot of science that we're still looking into, even for other injuries in the body. I have a friend of mine who has a spinal cord injury, and they're trying to teach her how to rebuild neural pathways within her brain, so that she can regain function in her body. And it's a lot of brain
That's so interesting.
rebuilding, right? And like, nobody knows whether, like, nobody's expecting her to get up and run a marathon or anything, but slowly over time, that's the experiment, is can you build these neural pathways within your brain that will help you gain any type of function within your body? Can your body heal? Can you heal your own brain to regain any functioning. And so this is some of the science that they're working on with this
Yeah.
neuroplasticity stuff. And it's beyond me, but it's fascinating.
It is fascinating. Like I'm just curious because but have they seen any improvements in that experiment?
You'd have to ask a scientist about that. I mean, I think
Yeah.
I think anytime you're engaging with this kind of stuff in science, I'm sure it's 2 steps forward and 1,000 steps back, and
I know.
all of that kind of
We're
stuff.
going beyond
Which
us right now. I know. I was just so fascinated by that. But
it's fascinating.
what I
Yeah.
was yeah, I was gonna ask you, is there a rise in disability art?
Oh, there's no doubt that there's a rise in disability art. Certainly, with 27% of the population now identifying with disability, you're going to find a lot more artists in there, but also folks that are discovering art, whether or not they've acquired a
Mhm.
disability and are working through art as, what we were just talking about as part of a recovery or rehabilitation process, and then discovering that they're actually really good at art, that they really like art, because art is no longer just a hobby or a passion for some folks. They actually discover that this is something that they want to do as a career.
Mhm.
And long has been the time where we have looked at people with disabilities doing art as, oh, good for you, you have a hobby, right? And
Sure. Yeah.
it's been so patronizing. But I will tell you, I'm a full-time artist that earns a living
Of
as an
course.
artist, right? So there are
Yeah.
folks in this world that are beyond hobbyists, and but you don't have to be, right? You can art is whatever you want it
Mhm.
to be. But with the disability justice movement, disability rights, the intersection of other movements around social justice, those things, the access to technology to do arts, the reclaiming of the narrative around disability, wanting
It
more
goes on and on. Yeah.
representation, right? Like all of those things, even
Yeah.
just the access to funding that's been opened up to people with disabilities. All of those things culminate in the rise of disability arts and representation. So those
Yeah.
are all pluses. I wish there was more, honestly, but it's a really great start, and so that's encouraging for folks. Is it
It
perfect?
is.
No, but it's a really great start for encouraging more disability arts representation for sure.
Yeah, and a lot of what you talked about is quite the high level on the spectrum, right? Like with the funding and with messaging and with mass uptake and things like that for people with artists with disabilities. But even on the kind of everyday scale, there's, am I able to paint now as a person with low vision? Am I able to take parts in arts and crafts at school as a kid with a disability? That kind of thing, right? Like the similar conversations we have around sports and recreation. Is it
Mhm.
inclusive? Is there
Yeah,
space for me in the day to day environment and social and educational environments and
there's a
experiences? Yeah.
uh, there's a really great statement that I found here. I'm going to read it to you because I think this kind of sums it up really nicely, which says,
Hmm.
disability arts is not just rising, it's reshaping what art can be, who it is for, and how it functions in the world. It calls on institutions, artists, and audiences to rethink access, aesthetics, and value.
Nice.
I love
Yeah,
that.
So there you
absolutely.
go.
Love
Yeah,
that.
that should be on a
So,
t-shirt.
yeah, exactly. What's happening? Give us some tactile ways that we're recognizing around the country Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month in June, as well as Autism Pride Day. There's some cool events.
Yeah, there's always stuff going on. So first thing I think we should maybe highlight is something called Art on the Brain. I thought this was, I mean, like, it's a very cool title. First of all, it's an exhibition, Art on the
Yeah.
Brain. This is curated by the Brain Injury Society of Toronto. And it illustrates the challenges, the creativity, the strength, and the resilience of and the talents of more than 40 artists who live with brain injury. This show was originally launched in 2017 with the goal of spreading brain injury awareness. And since then, artists have created exhibitions that are disrupting the concept of awareness campaigns, which, quote, are solving the problem of disability, right? That's what all of these awareness campaigns are. We're solving the problem of disability. So instead, they're exhibiting artists that are taking up space. And these are individuals with brain injury, and they are choosing to depict themes of their own art or not, right? Like they can choose to choose choose themes of disability or not within their art. And this year they're exploring artworks such as photography and pencil sketches and watercolors and sculptures and acrylics and ceramics and video. I mean, you name it. And their theme is Odyssey, a journey through healing. And this exhibition includes a whole bunch of things, including this which sounds really interesting to me. This exhibition, which includes something called Come Fly With Me, which is a multimedia group installation. Multimedia group installation featuring over 100 birds created as symbols of the journey of the Odyssey, resilience and transformation. Sounds pretty cool. That's at the Toronto Brain Injury Society. So if you want to go check out these 40 artists that are doing all sorts of different things, I say check it out.
Huge representation.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Huge. Yeah, that's huge.
Something else is going on closer to you, Amy.
Yeah, Vancouver has its children's festival that's happening right now. This is an annual festival that goes on in Vancouver. And the Children's Festival is really great. And one of the things that they're great at, because they're working with a lot of children and children representative in the autistic community, is relaxed performances. So the Children's Festival highlights a lot of performances from a lot of artists across the world that come in for the Children's Festival. So artists of different kinds. And again, the content is all, relevant to children, right? We're not going to find any content here that's adult related content. So it's all for young audiences. And, but we've got artists that are coming from North America and Europe and, Africa and all sorts of things. So we've got music and theater and dance and puppetry and acrobatics and storytelling. We've got creative arts practices. We've got all sorts of things. And the idea is that everything here is done in a way that is relaxed or has sensory friendly practices in mind. That folks in families and children with autism and their families can engage in these programming offerings with access in mind. So low sensory zones, quiet spaces, places where your child can stim. So they've got stimming toys, things like fidget spinners, things like that, coloring stations, so that if you're in the middle of a performance and you need to step out because your child is overwhelmed, you can do that. Or you don't have to worry about disrupting performers because you're in an environment where it's cool to come and go, or it's cool to make noise, and you don't have to worry about those kinds of things happening in a space. You are welcome to be who you are in a space.
Okay, great. Two big shout outs there: the diversity of programming to encapsulate all kinds of people, and then of course the relaxed considerations about that. Nice.
You got it. Yeah. So finally, I thought I'd highlight something called Connections, which also sounds very brain related because it is. And this is an exhibition that's happening at the Royal Alberta Museum in Edmonton that explores the intersection of art and neuroscience. So this is developed, of course, in collaboration with the University of Alberta's Neuroscience and Mental Health Institute. And the exhibition features artworks and scientific images that portray aspects of brain disease and mental health. So the exhibition includes works that reflect the experience of individuals with neurological conditions. So this would be things like Alzheimer's and dementia. And again, we're looking at different types of artworks that are representative of the experiences of these various folks, and they're put on display. And then they also have displays of, for example, scientific pictures of the human brain, things like that. So it's a mixture
Oh,
of
okay.
science and art. And so, as I understand it, they would have, for example, a picture of how Alzheimer's is, like the plaques in the brain, where Alzheimer's
Uh-huh.
would be impacting the brain, and then perhaps a photo, perhaps a group of paintings by an individual that has Alzheimer's, and they would pair those two things up so that you could sort of view this individual person by their artwork and the picture of their brain to see sort of the
Mm.
art and science and how they
Wow.
match together. So it's a bit of the medical model and the social model of disability kind of coming together, and some people may feel mixed about that. But I think that that's also a reclaiming of the narrative, and I think that if you've got folks in the disability community that are wanting to participate in this way, that is absolutely their choice, and none of us should be saying
Yeah.
no, you can't mix those two things together, because I
Mm.
also think that that is absolutely fascinating.
It
And even
is.
in my own show, about photography and blindness, I got photos of my eyeballs in that show because they are photographs, and my show is about photography and blindness,
Mm.
Yeah,
so it seems appropriate, right?
it makes sense.
So
Yeah.
absolutely. So, if we want to learn about, the medical impact on our body and the social impacts on our bodies and how we produce our own art, I think it's totally appropriate and totally fascinating, and just another way that we can connect as human beings. So, check that out if you're near the Royal Alberta Museum in Edmonton.
I'm super curious about that one, and just
Yeah.
because of the way that we can kind of involve ourselves in science or feel like we can dip our toes into some of these subjects matter that can feel quite intimidating is through art and through conversation and education that
Yeah.
doesn't feel so overwhelming, right? So if you're taking some of these
Hmm.
subject matters that not only can be complex because it's the brain, but also sensitive, very sensitive to
Yeah.
people going through it, and then making it into a more relaxed, artistic endeavor. That sounds quite intriguing. I'm very curious
Yeah,
about that.
and
Yeah.
maybe you find science to be very intimidating. Maybe
Hmm.
you are a person who is never interested in art, but you're interested in
Yeah.
science, right? Like it's an intersection of
Yeah.
two
Yeah.
things that, again, we've been told our whole lives you're either a left brain or a right brain, and these are
Hmm.
the two things that are intersecting together. And I certainly find this to be a fascinating intersection of exhibition.
I agree.
Hmm.
I totally agree.
Yeah,
Amy, thank you so much.
yeah.
We highlighted 3 really cool events pretty much all across the country, and just the conversation around the intersection of art and disability and brain is fascinating. So appreciate the primer.
Yeah. Thanks, friends.
Take care. Amy Amantea is our arts and culture critic, and she joins us every other Thursday. Disability art, we know, is very important, not just for representation, but because it transforms our understanding of creativity, humanity, justice. It challenges ableist norms and redefines what art can be, and of course, who can make it and how it's experienced. We've had tons of arts and disability and kind of like empowerment conversations on the show of late. So check back in the archives because a lot of episodes on this theme. Nazi, what else are
Hmm.
we talking about today?
Well, people with disabilities are often left out of participating in the digital casino landscape. OLG is stepping in and introducing the industry's first inclusive gaming experience to all players. Ontario Lottery and Gaming Corporation, OLG, is supporting accessibility in the iGaming industry with the launch of Red Panda Tales of Wealth, the first digital slot game designed with built-in accessible features. While Red Panda Tales of Wealth mirrors the appearance and gameplay of other iCasino slot games in market, it is built with universal design principles to deliver a user-friendly experience. Chris O'Brien, director of accessibility for OLG, who's a good friend and former colleague, is here with the scoop. Lovely to catch up, Chris. Welcome back.
Well, thank you. I'm really excited to be back.
Awesome.
Cool.
So, please familiarize us with these slot concepts. So what is iGaming? Let's start there.
So if you've ever been to a land-based casino, there's a bunch of different machines for gambling. So this is essentially just digitizing a version of that. For some people that haven't actually encountered a slot machine before, essentially it's a machine with a bunch of different what we call reels with various different symbols on them, and when you spin the reels reconfigure themselves. So as you get a variety of different configurations for the symbols, you win various prizes, and those are called lines. So thank you.
Okay, so we're obviously curious about Red Panda Tales of Wealth and what exactly it is, because my understanding is it's not technically a game. It's kind of like a feature, right, or an add-on to existing games. But you correct us. You clarify what exactly it is and how long you've been working on the project.
So it is a game, and This is very important. Just to correct something from the intro to the show, we didn't actually build specific features we didn't build assistive technology into the game. The focus of this game is to support existing assistive technologies and different ways that people would want to interact with the game, which they're currently unable to do.
So things that we're already familiar with, like screen readers and other technology.
Absolutely. A variety of different assistive technologies, keyboard access. This is something which is currently a big blocker in existing games. So we felt it was really important to kind of unlock the potential for everyone and, play games like anyone else. So to answer your other question, we've been working on this game for approximately a year now, from the design, conceptualization, training of our partners, testing and whatnot to release day, which was last week. So we are extremely pleased with how it's all gone.
Okay, so tell us what exactly it is.
Sorry, pardon me?
Actually, hold on. Before we get to you telling us exactly what the game is, let's listen to the trailer, or a bit of the trailer we have on the Red Panda Tales of Wealth.
Welcome to Red Panda Tales of Wealth, a new slot game developed with universal design techniques, benefiting all players, including those using assistive technology. The game supports full keyboard accessibility such that players can change their stake and play with a few strokes of the keyboard. The game makes use of text-to-speech, allowing the
So as you were saying, it's got the technology that some of us might already be familiar with. You mentioned the keyboard strokes, as we heard in there, screen reader technology, etc. Does it look any different, this particular game, visually compared to the average slot game?
No, and we very specifically tried to make it look like any other iCasino offering. One of the big misconceptions that a lot of digital teams have is that you can't actually make an engaging, highly interactive game accessible. So we really put a huge focus on ensuring that that's the case. One of our goals also is to ensure that, we're advocating to the industry to embrace a new way of developing games. So obviously, as you can imagine, they are very protective of their current experiences. So you have to be able to demonstrate to them that you can embed accessibility without taking away any aspect of their existing games. So that part's very critical.
Yeah. Did you hear about the lack of accessibility from the general public, from people who have experience trying to play slot machines and then being like, this is impossible or very difficult, and that's what spun it? Like, what spun this particular project?
Yeah, that's a great question. And, the answer is yes. We've heard lots of feedback from consumers who would like to play these games but cannot. We're also very familiar with digital accessibility. We do a lot of work in that respect for other aspects of OLG's products and services. So this is something that we've identified as a huge gap, and we weren't seeing the industry moving fast enough in that direction. If you look at other industries like, the gaming proper, video game, PC gaming, console gaming, there's been an explosion of accessibility in those areas.
Yeah.
The iGaming industry has not followed suit. So we kind of, we decided to take a leadership position here, and we're not game developers ourselves, but we look to partner with someone to help us bring our vision to life.
How'd you go about designing? Yeah. How'd you go about designing Red Panda Tales of Wealth to address accessibility?
So we leverage, as there's lots of standards for the web. So we kind of use those as a scaffold for ensuring or identifying issues in other games, and we brought those forward. But we really, on top of the standards, we really wanted to place a focus on the user experience, and for that we partnered with Fable, who's a Toronto-based organization that connects businesses with people with disabilities, and they do a variety of testing using a variety of different assistive technologies to ensure that the solutions that you're creating meet their needs. So throughout that process, you're constantly challenging your own assumptions. Even someone like myself, I've been working in digital accessibility for 15 years. You have certain assumptions about things, and when you have a large sample size of testers, inevitably you're going to learn something, and you take those learnings and then you roll that back into the game, and through that process you end up with a much more robust, usable experience for everyone.
Right. And as you said, I bring this point up because it is relevant. Like, this stuff already exists, right? A lot of what we know are screen readers. If you own an iPhone, you can practically go through the myriad of accessibility features that are available, being worked on either by a monopolizing company or by publicly sourced, coders and allies. So it is kind of already familiar territory, as you said. It's just unlocking it in particular sectors of participation for people with disabilities. So I'm curious, like the stuff go ahead, respond. Yeah.
No, I was just going to say, that's absolutely true. And what we've done here, there's no magic to it. We're leveraging technology that has existed for a long time. We're leveraging techniques used by people widely across the internet to make things accessible. So all we were doing is just exposing another industry to the possibilities through that technology, through those techniques, and then by also trying to expose them to a user base that they may not have been exposed to originally, just to to show that you're missing a significant audience and potential customers and people that really want to leverage these games and have fun.
And that's what a lot of the other companies have already done, right? Being like, hey, the blind people want smartphones. How do we make this happen? And as you already mentioned too, like, there's already a ton of disabled video gamers out there. The community is building, the Reddit threads are building, the YouTube channels and Twitch, involvement is building as well. So like, this feels like an extension of that naturally, to bring in slot machines. But I'm also curious about the addictive factor. I don't know if you can speak to this, but if there is something that changes with how you interact and what that means for the people who own the slot machines or who are making money out of them, when it's different, like when the machines are being interacted with differently because of any of these above accessibility features. Is there anything?
I think nothing really changes other than the sense that you opening up your products to a larger audience. You're providing a much better experience. As you both know, there's a huge correlation between accessibility and better user experience in general. So even if you're providing features to existing player base that don't necessarily need them, a lot of times you're really enhancing the user experience in general. So in general, you're just offering a better product across the board with the added benefit of potentially adding a larger market share and having an inclusive experience and not locking people out of experiences that they really want to enjoy.
Yeah.
Is Red Panda Tales of Wealth already out there and available?
Yeah, absolutely. For anyone that's interested, you can go to our website at olg.ca. There's a casino tab in the main navigation, and you'll find it under an OLG feature. And I hope everybody enjoys. And, thank you very much for having us on to talk about it.
Yeah, of course. Anything else you want to say before you go on testing success and such? Like, are you getting feedback?
So we got a tremendous amount of feedback, especially through the Fable process. And in particular, the thing that was very striking and very satisfying for us was just people who, once again, are usually shut out of these experiences unnecessarily because of technology decisions that product owners make. They're just very grateful to have an organization actually catering to those needs. And I heard that over and over and over again. And I just think for the great message here for companies, like there's a lot of brand loyalty up for grabs when you take the time to look at the larger audience and kind of expand your mindset. You will unlock a larger audience, a grateful audience, and people that will be loyal to your brand. So I mean, there's only advantages as far as I can see. So I would encourage everybody, iCasino or otherwise, to really start thinking about digital accessibility if you aren't already.
Yeah. This is going to be like a huge catalyst. And I think it's going to spread very quickly, the word, and as well as the understanding and the concept of making slot machines more accessible. I am curious though, for OLG, was this a very collaborative process? You mentioned Fable, and we know how well connected Fable is to the community and to testers. They do an impeccable job getting testing done on all levels. So that's one thing. But were there other aspects of it that felt very either collaborative or the opposite, like pulling teeth?
No, I mean, this project was incredibly collaborative. And in general, what we do within accessibility, we don't actually build anything, but what we do ask is that people that do build things build them with some of the requirements that we have in mind. So a lot of times they may or may not be aware of the needs of the user base that you're asking them to cater to, B, that there's actually a problem, and then C, how to actually execute on the requirements. So, it requires a lot of relationship building. It requires a lot of work to articulate what it is that you're asking for and how to do it, and really raise the awareness with the stakeholders. And it was very much the same case here with our original partner who built the game for us, Pishu. I give them a lot of credit because, at no point did they ever sell themselves as accessibility experts, but the idea really actually resonated with them. They were the first people to really see the vision and embrace it and say, yeah, we'd really like to do this. We don't necessarily know how. And that's my team. We bring the technical knowledge and we train them on how to do that. And through this iterative process, we worked through the initial game, and then we leveraged the Fable team to do the validation. So, and that's ignoring all the other levels of collaboration across organizations. Yeah. There's so many technology providers here. Like it was a really intense experience in terms of all of the different layers of collaboration that was needed. So from that perspective, we're really proud.
We're really curious. What do you enjoy about your work?
So I've been working in IT or IT adjacent fields for about 25 years. So I'm obviously a tech guy, tech nerd. I also do enjoy helping people. So accessibility is really a great hybrid of those two things. You can really leverage technology to empower people, and I really enjoy finding opportunities to, mix the technology with the human element to better outcomes for people. And that's, to me, what accessibility is really about. And especially in the digital field, there's an incredible amount of opportunity here. A lot of people don't recognize it. And it's not as hard as people think. It's really just having an awareness of what's required and an open mind to learning about what the problem is, and then the different ways of addressing it. So, this project in particular is really a highlight of my long career. So I'm really hoping that we can leverage this to encourage the rest of the industry to start following suit and building their own inclusive solutions.
Nice.
That's awesome. I feel like this job is so unique, so fascinating, so interesting. And we wish you the best of luck. Before we let you go, can you just let us know one more time where we can access Red Panda Tales of Wealth?
Sure. You can find the game at olg.ca, and you'll find it under the casino section.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you so much,
Thanks,
Chris.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Red Panda Tales of Wealth is a new, inclusive iGaming option developed by OLG. We are speaking with Director of Accessibility at OLG, Chris O'Brien.
This is like so different to the work he was doing at AMI.
It's so crazy. Yeah, I know, right?
When are we going to get our slot machine directors in? Oh, well, we'll see. Maybe with the move to course. We'll see. Let's talk about picnics, because summer is officially here and Nazi's got her picnic basket all ready to go, although it's like a bougie version of a picnic basket I've ever heard. Warmer weather means prime time for picnics, but we want to know how to pack it properly with dishes that actually travel well and not get gross and potentially ruin our picnic baskets. So Mary Mammoliti, chef and culinary expert, is here with a portable prep-friendly ideas to keep our picnics satisfying and simple. Mary, I'm so excited. I love picnics, and I force my friends into picnics like a few times a year for sure. So what makes a good picnic menu? First of all, what should we leave behind? Gross things that will get
That's
gross.
The perfect question to start with, is what to leave behind, right? So I want you to ditch the fussy food. So skip anything that needs to be served hot or cut right before eating. So anything that requires a knife and a fork, not ideal, right?
So everything that my family brings. Yeah, got it. That sums it up.
Leave your butter chicken at home.
Your family. Think of plan for like one utensil in a hand, a plate, and a seat. That's what you want. That's what you aim for. Sit-down meals, we'll have them at home. So think about foods that you can grab and eat with one hand. So this is along the same line. So think wraps, empanadas, skewers, even sliced pizza, because sometimes a lot of people like it cold. But because it's warm out, and you can actually just put it on the picnic table or wherever you are and just warm it through kind of in the sun. Not for long, but it warms through.
Long as it's a fresh pizza, not like one you took out of the fridge.
Exactly. Or the freezer. No, you need to bake that one. So that's perfect. So it's just, as long as it's cooked before you bring it and it warms through within the sun, which is really nice. Think items that don't spill and that work well with sitting around a little bit, right? So there's that thing again. You're not having it out all day, but it is going to be out for a bit. So think about that when you're planning.
Probably not a smoothie.
Okay, now we...
I've done that.
And now we know what not to bring, but now we're packing. So what should make the cut here?
Okay, so this is the fun part, right? So choose foods that travel well. You want dishes that can handle a car ride and they still taste great. So here's what I want you to keep in mind. Think, and this is kind of like, you think of picnics, you think of this, pasta salads. There's always a pasta salad at a picnic or some type of salad. So the reason why is because it actually tastes better after sitting around a bit. Sandwiches made with crusty bread, they hold up well because that crusty bread's a little more secure. Hard cheeses, fresh fruit, hummus, bean dips. Again, there's that bean. All are perfect. This is what I want you to avoid. Lettuce heavy salads or anything that's mayo based. Reason is because the heat it's not your friend with these ingredients, right? Mayo, we know will spoil really quickly. Lettuce,
How quickly,
wilts.
Mary? Really?
Depends on how hot it is, honestly. And you want to just, I mean, if you take it out of your cooler, serve it up, eat it, put it back in your cooler, you're good. But if it's going to sit on that table, no, I would prefer you take a different type of salad. And if anyone says, where's the mayo salad? Say, Mary said no, if it's going to stay out.
Mary said no. Mary said no. But you know what? They might use that as an excuse not to come picnicking with us next time. I'm going to be at home with the mayo. Seriously, I have some ride or die mayo friends. The question is not really about... You can do it.
You can still do it. Just keep it in the cooler.
Keep it in the cooler. That's what I mean. It's not necessarily about like mixing your condiments or dressings with the salad. You know, like, oh, keep your salad fresh by mixing it in later. It's really about spoiling here.
Correct.
Mayo and everything else.
Correct. And how hot it is outside.
All right. Yeah.
Our go-to is watermelon. I love bringing watermelon. It's a must-have in our picnics.
Oh, that's a staple. But do you cut it before you go, or do you cut it there?
We're supposed to cut it before we go, but we always end up leaving last minute. So we bring a big knife in our picnic wagon.
It's kind of a vibe cutting watermelon though at the picnic.
And it's like fresher. I don't know. Like I feel like it's fresher rather than cutting it and dicing it and putting it in a Tupperware. I feel like it's just. Yeah, but at the same time, we're supposed to cut it before, but we always end up leaving it last minute. So we bring it.
And there's no right or wrong to that. It's whatever works for you.
Yeah. It's just more dishes that way, though. So that's what's up.
Yeah, it's true.
But anyway.
That's what it is. So packing, we're very keen on the packing here. It can make or break the experience. Obviously, if you have a wagon and a suitcase, then you're golden. Apparently, that's how Nazi and her family travels for picnics. But any tricks to keep the packing organized?
It sounds like a good time.
Yeah, it does. It's a party, actually.
We don't miss anything. Yeah, anyway.
Well, then you already know this. You pack in layers. Keep it cool. Start with flat items at the bottom. Items that are sturdy and they don't bruise or mash up easily. And then that's when you pile on the softer items and the things on top. I know it sounds logical, but it's true. You got to think about these things because when you get there, the first thing you're thinking about is load everything up into this wagon or whatever it is and let's go. But that ruins it, right? I mean, you end up with breadcrumb chips, right? Just mashed up everything. So if you think of the harder, more sturdier items at the bottom, softer on top, use containers that are tight fitting lids, nothing leaks. Even if you think, okay, so this is the size of the Tupperware that I have, this is going to fit. Let's talk about watermelon. This will fit my watermelon. If it's not a tight fitting lid, that will leak on everything and just spoil it for you. So make sure that there's tight fitting lids. Throw in frozen water bottles. That's always great because they keep things cool and then it gives you a cool drink afterwards as it starts melting. Another option is gel packs. Those are great alternatives because there's no watery mess or any melting ice afterwards. It just keeps everything cool and everything else nice and dry. Another tip is, have you ever tried this? Line your cooler with either a towel, a kitchen towel, or even if you're using a tablecloth. It actually helps insulate it a little more and keep things a little more compressed so they don't move around within your coolers. So that's a neat little trick that I've done. Yeah, try it.
It holds the moisture too, right?
Ice. Pardon?
Oh, okay, never mind. Then my question is obsolete. Like I was gonna say, it holds the moisture. Like you know when you put a kitchen towel in the freezer or fridge or whatever, you can make a cold compress out of it like that. But I guess you're saying no ice though.
I mean, you could, but it just becomes soggy and wet, and then it wets everything else. So I would do it if you're using gel packs, if you're using those water bottles, frozen water bottles. It's also a great idea. It helps keep things a little more insulated in there. Doubles up the insulation. And then you use the tablecloth.
Let's talk drink. Yeah, that's smart. I've never thought of that. That's a good one. Let's talk drinks. What should we bring that's not a hassle?
think ahead for drinks. So batch drinks, big batch drinks, those are your best friend when it comes to picnicking. Think homemade lemonade, iced tea, fruit infused waters are nice. They're refreshing, and really you don't need to lug all those cans with you. So that's a bonus for me. It's less to lug. Even if you have the wagon, there's a lot you're lugging there. So, and they're refreshing, right? So they won't
So
need...
how do you pack those that homemade lemonade, for example? How do you take it?
Put those in a jug. So it's a jug with a leak-proof lid. Right,
Okay.
skip the glass. You want to go to plastic. Metal travel cups are always a great idea too. They have these big thermos jugs. I can't remember where I saw it. I probably shouldn't have brought it up because I can't give you the link. But I remember seeing it or having it somewhere, someone telling me about it. So I know they're out there. They got a great lid. Yeah. Google's your friend on that one.
Exactly.
Freeze some grapes. This is a one that I always love. Frozen grapes. Yep. They work well as ice cubes. They're a great snack when it's hot out. I absolutely love them. I don't know if you've ever tried them.
Frozen grapes?
I've never tried them. So wait,
I've seen them as
you freeze the grapes,
cubes, but I've never had it.
So all you do,
you put it in an ice cube tray?
No, you just take them off the stem, pop them into a freezer bag, pop them into your freezer, and they're frozen. So even when it's cold, it's really hot out, you bite into it. It's like this little slushy kind of treat. Yeah, which is really good. It's kind of sweet. It's a little slushy.
Sounds so good and refreshing.
People use that and berries, like raspberries and stuff, to use as ice cubes in drinks. It's kind of cool.
Yes, I like the grapes because they don't come apart.
Yeah,
in your drink.
The skin. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that because when I make like mocktails, for example, I use frozen fruits just for the base, just for the flavor. But I never thought of them as using it as like ice
cubes,
which is pretty cool.
Do the grape thing. It'll change you. You'll always do it. Every single summer you'll end up doing it. But I feel
like you got to use seedless for this one though, because you imagine biting into a frozen grape and then you got to deal with discarding seeds as well. No thanks.
That's a good point.
Yeah, but
that's a good point. I do use seedless for it.
Yeah,
I do. I'm always buying seedless though because I don't want to toss those little seeds.
It's not that complicated, Rims.
It's not that complicated if you already buy seedless grapes.
You just say so it's got fiber.
Wait, sorry. Is it not that complicated to discard the grapes? Stop. You guys have barely convinced me on the grape front, just FYI.
Seedless. Go seedless then.
Yeah.
Last tip.
I do have a quick recipe for strawberry lemonade though. Really quickly. Okay. Just I want to challenge everyone. If you've never made it, try this one. Simple syrup, you can make it really nice and quick. It's a pot, get a little small pot, 1 cup of water, 3/4 cup of sugar, melt that down. So you just boil that up, it dissolves, it comes into a syrup. It literally takes a minute. Set that aside, let it cool into a blender, pop about a pound of hulled strawberries, the juice of 6 lemons, blend that up into a puree. And then you're going to mix everything into a container, into your jug, whatever you want. Everything goes together with 6 cups of filtered water. And then a little splash, I would say 1, 2, I'll go 2 tablespoons of rose water. Now, if you've never tried rose water, yes.
It
sounds so good.
Like
leveled
it's optional.
Up.
It is optional, but it does add that little bit of like delicate sweetness, kind of floral flavor to it. And it's got like a refreshing element to it. So I'd highly recommend adding it. But if you don't have it, that's okay. That's all it takes to make homemade lemonade.
This is like when I discovered elderflower liqueur or elderflower syrup, like whatever. And I just couldn't stop. It was literally being added to everything. That bottle did not
exactly. Add it to this.
Yeah, exactly. No, but that's what the rose water vibe will be. Okay, super quick, like 90 seconds. What are the little things we need to add to make the biggest difference in our picnics?
Okay, really quick. Napkins. Always bring more than you need. Small cutting board. Again, watermelon doubles as a cheese board. Slicing fruit, trash bags. Don't forget your trash bags. Wipes. Never forget the wet ones. Those wipes, they work great.
Yes.
And they've saved me from, honestly, many spills on my shirts. They take out stains beautifully. Toilet paper. I'm saying this because park restrooms, we all know by noon, if it's a busy day, it's gone. So toilet paper. Portable. They see, you would have thought of that one. Portable handheld fan. If it's really cool and someone overheats, you want us to keep hot. A power bank just for charging devices, just in case.
Yeah.
And then
Bluetooth
don't forget,
speakers.
like most importantly, sunscreen, bug spray, hats. Don't forget them.
Yes.
That's your list.
Mary,
That's gonna
like
be
all
a
we need to do is
summer.
podcast this episode the day before our picnic. This is fantastic. Thank you.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You're welcome. I hope everyone has fun picnicking this summer.
Thank
Yes, we
you.
will. Thank you, Mary Mammoliti. And you can check out her podcast as well. They're all in your favorite podcast platforms called Kitchen Confession. And for more of Mary's recipes, tips, discussions, everything else, you can go to marymammoliti.com or at Kitchen Confession on Instagram and TikTok. Okay, so Nazi, you got
Oh
all
my
your picnic
God.
tips? Is there anything we missed? No,
I love strawberry lemonade, so
Me too.
that's what
Can you make this
she
and
got
tell
me
me?
on that, so that's what I've been
Yeah.
dreaming about.
Tell me how it goes, please,
I'm
because
gonna
that
make
sounds
it.
so good. I don't have the patience to make
Yeah.
lemonades, but I love making iced tea and cold brew
Yeah.
coffee for the summer.
So good.
we
I
can
bring
have some of that.
I bring the portable fans that she was talking about, but
Do
it's so
you?
small that everybody
so
always
smart.
makes fun of me for it. But it makes
but
a
then they're
difference
using it,
for
right?
one person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, Nazi,
Yeah.
we'll catch you on tomorrow's show. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks. Nasreen Abdelmajid and Ramia Amadin on tomorrow's show, which is the Friday edition before Kelly comes back next week. Greg David has our 2025 summer lineup for AMI TV. New shows, returning shows, you got the full list with him. And Stephen Scott of Double Tap on AMI Audio has the top 3 blind tech headlines for us that are making waves right now. And huge warning here, the word AI is in all of them. Join us tomorrow for more Kelly and Company.
Thanks for tuning in to Kelly and Company. Follow us on all social media and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more.